Oh, this is a good way to collect an insurance check. Welcome to Daddy's Money Garage. Smoking. It's bad for you. You should not do it, but you probably should also not eat so much McDonald's. There's no Surgeon General warning on the side of a Big Mac carton. There really should be, though. What was I talking about? Smoking. Right, it's bad. But it was a part of our culture. Disclaimer. This video is not meant to encourage anyone to smoke by any means. This is purely for demonstrational purposes, because what I have to demonstrate is... You'll see. It's something.
It's something you've almost certainly never heard of.
You may be wondering, this is a car channel. What does this have to do with cars? Be patient. It's coming. I promise you this is related to cars.
Context?
Yeah, there will be context.
Okay.
That all being said, indulge me and let me paint this story for you. 1927. Ronson Company makes lighters. And I collect Ronson lighters and memorabilia. These are a couple of Ronson Delight lighters made in 1927. They both still work beautifully. And you can see there's some quality of machining in here, right? Like, this got this little snuff cap to put out the flame for you, and it's really more complex than it needs to be. And I imagine that's what the inventor of the Zippo lighter was thinking when they came out in 1933. Everybody knows these lighters. They're windproof, they got that tall chimney, they're pretty hard to blow out, whereas a Ronson is not. This is a table lighter from the 1940s, and you can see the detail they really put into these things. Smoking was much more accepted back then, and the lighters were considered an accessory, so they made them look very nice. But as you can see, even though it looks nice, a Ronson is not windproof. Until Ronson introduced this lighter called the Whirlwind. And this looks like a Delight lighter from earlier, but they have a little flip-up shield to make it windproof. However, they're not nearly as windproof as the Zippo. That all being said, Ronson never made something that was really better than the Zippo. So they had to get more and more innovative with their technologies. Now, what does this have to do with cars, right? Smoking was so common in the day that every car came with a lighter. Like, nowadays, you don't get a lighter in a car. You have to order, like, a smoker package to get that little push-in lighter.
That's, like, not available on most cars now.
Yeah. Now, is that a good or bad thing? Well, considering that you can go buy these little lighters for, like, $1 at a gas station, I don't think that, car manufacturers, not including lighters, has stopped anyone from smoking at all. Whatever.
Every rental car I've ever driven. They've all reeked.
But Ronson in the 1960s, when smoking was more accepted, was an innovator of technology. And since they were losing market share to Zippo, they had to come up with something a little bit unique. That brings us to what I have to show you today. This is a Ronson robot lighter, and yes, it is actually called that.
You told me that you bought this thing, and you told me what it was called, and I legitimately did not believe you.
What it is it is a car-mounted smoking accessory. What you do is, you take a whole pack of cigarettes, either filtered Kings or standard-sized according to the literature that comes with one of these things. You load it into this hopper. When you push this bar in, it loads a cigarette into the sleeve in here, and it also activates an element at the back that gets hot. And when it gets hot enough, it automatically ejects. So if this were hooked up to power and it actually heated up, theoretically this should dispense a lit cigarette
In your car.
In your car, which has carpet. What if you forget it's in there? The cigarettes weren't fire safe. What if it just stays in there and just burns the whole car down? It's just like an insurance check on demand. Push the button for payment. The literature that came with this device says that it will dispense a lit cigarette in 8 to 10 seconds. Who needs this? Cars already had lighters.
A lot of them had several by that point.
I have a way that I like to gauge the luxury of a classic car, and it's by how many cigarette lighters and how many ashtrays it has. Let me give you an example of how this works. The Jet, which is a 71 Plymouth Valiant economy car, has one lighter, one ashtray, located centrally in the dash just for the front passengers.
That ashtray is only big enough to put like 5 quarters in.
Yeah, you couldn't even put a cigar in it, so how fancy could it possibly be? My Plymouth. Mid-class car, 1965 Plymouth Sport Fury. It has a lighter and a big ashtray in the dash, but it also has ashtrays in the back for the kids. I would say that that's a pretty, luxurious upgrade to a Valiant. It's middle-class fancy. Then you have cars like John's Cadillac. John's Cadillac has got a lighter for every seat and a full ashtray for every seat. So the kids can smoke up in that too. But if you get my meaning here, an economy car to a mid-class car to a luxury car, the lighter and ashtray amount increases. What if I told you that you could just take the Valiant and make it into a Rolls Royce? Because the last time I checked, John, none of your ashtrays or lighters dispense a cigarette. So theoretically, this is gonna take your, Pinto into Wraith territory by 1960 standards.
Don't say that.
This thing, why does this exist? I don't even know why this exists. This is dumb. The Ronson company started losing money in 1970. Guess when these were available? They were made in 1968 and 1969, and they didn't make a lot of them. And I imagine there's a few reasons for that. The original literature states that this is $29.95 in 1968. Well, in 1968, adjusted for inflation, that's $256. The car came with a lighter, so nobody bought these. And finding one in working condition is extremely rare. One of these working is worth about $400 to a collector. I paid $100 for it because the guy said that it was untested and likely only for parts. But considering that it looks to be all here, including the bracket that you mount it to the car with and the wiring, we're gonna hook this thing up to a lawnmower battery and see if this thing actually works. Okay. Can you see? Good job.
Yep, we'll just edit that.
From what the literature says, this will hold an entire pack of cigarettes, and we're using Camels because, according to some old ads, more doctors smoke Camels than any other brand, so I figure they're safer. That's how that works. Have you ever read the back of one of these packs?
No.
It says, choice quality. Don't look for premiums or coupons, as the cost of the tobaccos blended in Camel cigarettes prohibits the use of them. That basically tells me, don't be a cheap piece of trash, and I'm being told that by a pack of cigarettes.
Well, they're basically telling you that, no, you can't get them cheaper.
It's a lot of money for cancer. So, here's an entire pack of smokes. These are unfiltered, because in the 60s, a standard length cigarette was unfiltered. And this unit says it will hold a whole pack of standard or king size, which would be, I guess, a typical filtered one nowadays. We've got 2 positive wires and a negative. I imagine the 2 positive, there's probably a light. Yep. Yeah, there's a little light in the sleeve hole. It has a safety, I guess, so that the kids don't mess with it. I don't want to wait for my lighter that came with my car to not dispense me a cigarette, so...
Would this be considered an assault lighter? It's literally
It's
smoking.
fully automatic, and yeah, it's smoking. Oh, wait, hold.
It's just not...
It's lit. It lit the cigarette. Why does this exist? Who can't wait long enough for... This is too hard.
It's this part.
A car lighter doesn't have a striker, John. It just pushes in and you wait for it. It's literally... See, if you bought a car that didn't come with a lighter, I imagine that car was probably made by Russia, because that luxury level was just straight into the Soviet Union. It works, and who bought this? I'm gonna install this in my car. You know why, John? I figured this is the easiest way to an insurance check. It didn't quite catapult it out like I thought it would. I thought when it said dispense, I thought it was like, if it did that, you could save even more time by mounting this in front of your face and then just have it catapult out and catch it with your teeth. Because that's what this whole thing was meant to do. It was meant to save you 10 seconds. Imagine how many arguments between parents were cut short by this device, saving them 10 seconds for the nicotine hit. This kind of thing could have only existed in the 60s, and that's what makes it cool. And yeah, it is car related, because I'm going to put this in my car. I know it works, and it's probably worth a lot of money to somebody, but I don't care. It's going in my car.
I just want to take a look at it.
Yeah.
It's super neat.
Mechanism was designed by Germany.
It's large.
Well,
it's actually really well made and in super good shape.
The one thing I would take away from this video is don't smoke, because it apparently leads to making you so impatient that you have to buy this. There's also the cancer thing.
It did cost A whole car payment.
Yeah, in the 60s.
Yeah. That's
People-
like buying a really nice stereo nowadays.
Yeah,
But all it does is spit out things that are on fire.
doing this is cheaper than making your car into a Rolls Royce. You can just buy this and then it's already competing.
That's fair.
Nobody knows this thing exists. I've never seen a video of one working. I've looked for one of these for a year. If you think it's interesting, like I do, and wonder why this thing even exists, share it. Tell people about this thing, because no one knows about these things. They only made a few of them. Having one that actually works is really astonishing. Yeah, anyway, I guess we'll wrap this up. Don't smoke, like and subscribe instead of smoking, and then we'll catch you on the next one.
However long that's gonna be.
Another 5 weeks or so.
Oh, Lord.
Please don't demonetize us.
We gotta get better about this.